All right, future CPAs, question of the day. We've got about 15 pounds worth of textbooks here, and that's a lot of information to know on exam day, right? So for each section, you're going to be expected to know everything and understand it and be able to apply it in the form of simulations, multiple choice questions, and so forth. So how do you keep what's in chapter 1 of your book as fresh as what's in the final chapters, right? That is the question of the day, and that's what we're going to be covering in this video by using what are called CPA exam study loops. So let's get started. All right, so if you were with us for our last video, we went over what's called the UCEG method. And this is the method that I teach to candidates today, and we've been seeing amazing results. And one of the things that I discussed was that you need a mentor to show you the right study method so that you can actually understand what you're studying and are studying efficiently based on your study personality. And basically it's going to save you a whole lot of trial and error, because when I was taking the CPA exam, I had no idea how to study for the CPA exam because it was unlike any college exam I had ever taken. And so when I tried to apply what I learned in college about test taking to the CPA exam, I failed miserably. And in fact, I failed 5 times in a row before I really kicked myself into gear and figured out how to pass a CPA exam. But it took hours and hours of interviewing successful CPA candidates, researching on forums, watching YouTube videos like this. And, I figured there had to be an easier way. But after doing tons of research, I couldn't find anyone to teach me how to actually study for the CPA exam, because my CPA review course, 1, it wasn't working for me and I followed exactly what they told me to do. And 2, there wasn't a service called CPA Exam Mentor that I could find somebody to teach me how to do all this. So that's why I've put together a free resource over at cpaexammentor.com to help you with all this. And one of the study methods that I teach are CPA exam study loops. And these are incredibly effective. I've got candidates using them today in 2019 and seeing amazing results. And it really does help you learn and understand everything that's in the for each section of the CPA exam and keeps it fresh for exam day. So what is a CPA exam study loop and how do you apply it to your specific CPA review course? Well, let's hop on my computer here and get started. All right, so implementing a CPA exam study loop requires a 4-step process. So step number 1, it's extremely obvious. You have to learn the material, right? So that means putting in the time, watching the lectures, reading the text. And if you haven't already, head over to freecpaquiz.com, and it's going to be a study personality quiz that you can take that will help you identify how you learn best. So basically it's going to teach you how to prioritize your time. So should you spend more time based on your learning style of reading the text, watching lectures, answering questions, what are your priorities when actually learning? So that's going to be the first crucial step, is understanding your study personality. And again, freecpaquiz.com is where you can figure all that out. So obviously learning the material is step number 1. Step number 2, and this is the step that everyone misses, you need to be constantly reviewing everything that you've learned up to this point. That's the biggest rookie mistake that I found, was that I was lazy. And, I just went through the text in a linear fashion, went chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, and just assumed that, in the last couple weeks, I could go back and reteach myself everything up to that point. And what happened was that I went into panic attack mode. And this happened multiple times before I finally figured out the way to overcome this weakness. And so basically, as you're going through your CPA review course, you need to set aside time each day, once a week, every other day. Figure out some way to set aside time to go back and re-review everything that you've learned up to this point. So basically, that's the study loop method, right? So you have to be constantly looking back, but also moving forward at the same time so that you can keep everything in focus, start identifying areas that you're struggling with and that the concepts that aren't sticking, so that you can devote time during your review to do that, which brings us to step number 3, which is targeted review. So again, targeted review involves looking at your analytics, going back and making a list of the areas that you really don't get, even after watching the lecture, reading the text, and answering some questions. That's really what you need to be doing during your targeted review. So you can use your notes, flashcards, and any sort of resource that you can use to help trigger a faster way to learn concepts that are difficult. That's what you need to be doing during the look back or review phase. So then step number 4 is to track and outsource everything. So again, when you have a laser focus list, that's what I like to call it in my premium course, Ultimate CPA Exam Guide, that I give a worksheet to all my students to use. Basically, it's a list of all the concepts that you're struggling with. And hopefully it's not everything, but again, this will be basic concepts that just don't make sense to you yet. So think of learning everything that's in this textbook like kind of like a snowball effect. So the first time you go through it, it's not going to make perfect sense. You're going to answer some questions, you might guess and get a few right, so it's going to be a learning process. And hopefully some stuff will make sense because it's either you're using it in work or it's familiar from college. But just don't get frustrated when you go through your text the first time and nothing makes sense. Okay, you just keep a list of everything that doesn't make sense, and then you're going to review it every other day, every other week, whatever works best for you. And so it's going to, it's going to take extra time, but the investment in time up front is worth it, because the more you review, the more it's going to make sense, the bigger the snowball of understanding is going to be. And then on exam day, you're going to have everything in focus, and hopefully you're going to pass the CPA exam. So this is the most important phase of any CPA candidate's journey to passing the CPA exam. Is one, you have to learn the material. You have to go through it and do it as quickly as possible. But as you're moving forward, you also have to look back and keep everything in focus. Because if you don't do that, then you're going to forget everything. And then in the final 2 weeks before you sit for your exam, you're going to be scrambling to reteach yourself stuff that you should already understand because you've been reviewing and so forth. So that's a high level overview of what a CPA exam study loop is. And inside my premium course, Ultimate CPA Exam Guide, I can teach you based on your CPA review course how best to implement CPA exam study loop. So you can experiment and try and figure all this out on your own, but I've honed in on each individual CPA review course, because again, I have access to all these programs. I partner with them all. So I have the inside look on how these courses work, and then I can teach you how to implement CPA exam study loops the right way the first time inside my premium mentorship group, Ultimate CPA Exam Guide. And if that's something you're interested in, you can head over to cpaexammentor.com. You can go through how to implement the UCEG method in the free training. And if you're interested in working closer with me, you can head down to the application, which is at the very bottom of that page. Fill out the application, lets me know a little bit about you, and then we can go from there and start working closer together, and you can use me as your CPA exam mentor. So if that sounds good, head over to CPA Exam Mentor now and check it all out.